Welcome to this explainer. So today we're diving into a really profound, ancient philosophical framework. But to unpack it, we're actually going to use a surprisingly modern, highly relatable, and honestly kind of exhausting metaphor. We're going to be talking about the nature of desire, the trap of the individualized ego, which is called the jiva, the pressure of our underlying desires, known as vasanas, and really the entire cycle of birth and rebirth itself.
Okay, let's just get right into it. Have you ever gone shopping? Maybe you just ran in for one specific thing, but you ended up leaving with like a dozen items you absolutely didn't need? I mean, we've all been there, right? But here's the thing. This super common, slightly absurd human experience is actually the perfect entry point into a massive philosophical problem. Because according to the source material we're looking at today, our constant burning need to consume, experience, and just acquire things, well, that's exactly what keeps us trapped in a relentless, totally exhausting cycle of existence.
That brings us to Section 1, the illusion of individuality, or finding the you in the web of thoughts. Let's look at how we even got tangled up in this messy web to begin with.
To understand this, we kind of need to split our idea of the self into two completely distinct categories. First up, we have pure consciousness, which is referred to as the kshetragya. Think of this as this unchanging, pure, illuminating light of awareness. It literally just is. It illuminates everything around it, but it doesn't suffer, and it definitely doesn't bump into things. But when that pure light gets caught up in the sticky, messy web of our own thoughts, it creates this illusion of a distinct, separate individual. It becomes the jiva. That is the individualized ego. And this fellow, as our source actually calls it, is the one floating along in time. Because time never stops, right? So the jiva is constantly changing, constantly bumping into things, dealing with the endless chatter of the mind, and fundamentally, it's the part of us that experiences suffering.
And that leads us to Section 2. The world's bustling bazaar, navigating the marketplace of desires. Because if the jiva is caught in time, just constantly bumping around, where exactly is it going? Well, it's going shopping.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding why we're driven to act, move, and consume in the first place. And the answer lies in a concept called vasanas. Vasanas are basically our past inhibitions and deep underlying desires. They're these unseen pressures from our past that completely, 100% dictate our current actions. If you think of your life as this frantic rush trip to the store, your vasanas are essentially the invisible ink writing out your internal shopping list. They dictate every single thing you feel you absolutely must have, do, or experience.
The source material puts this so brilliantly. It says, it searches for another body to exhaust the list of desires with a shopping list when you go to the bazaar. Just think about the sheer weight of that for a second. The individualized ego, our jiva, goes from one body to the next, literally from one life to the next, for one very specific reason. It has a shopping list to complete. You enter a shop, which in this metaphor represents a totally new life, a new body, new circumstances, simply to exhaust those burning desires. You walk in, you find 2 or 3 things you can purchase, you tick them off your list, and then what? Well, you have to move right on to the next shop to find the next item.
Which brings us to Section 3, your endless shopping list, and the stupidity of the infinite cart. Let's look a little closer at the actual mechanics of this exhausting trip.
The source makes a really poignant observation here. In every shop, when you see one thing, you remember another thing. The list literally never ends, and this really highlights the absolute stupidity of the human condition. I mean, you tick off one desire, but the very act of fulfilling it, or honestly, even just walking through the bazaar of life, exposes you to brand new, shiny things. You buy the shoes, and suddenly you realize, oh, I need a matching belt. You get the new house, and suddenly you want all new furniture. The desires just compound endlessly. As you purchase, new histories and new desires are generated, so you end up trapped in this state of never-ending distraction.
And this everyday stupidity actually builds into the grander cycle of life, death, and rebirth. It's practically a step-by-step process. Step 1, you're out there in the bazaar, running around frantically, trying to exhaust your desires, ticking items off your list left and right. But eventually, you get totally exhausted. You just can't shop anymore. And the source uses a remarkably modern analogy here. You collect all your heavy bundles, you drag yourself to the nearest hotel or motel, and you go to sleep. In this philosophical framework, that motel is death. It's really just a temporary rest stop, because what happens next? You wake up early the next morning, and what do? You grab a brand new list, which leads you right back to the bazaar, reborn into a new body, pushed by the pressure of those unfulfilled vasanas, forced to live again and again in higher and lower rooms just to start the whole wild shopping cycle all over again.
So, the obvious question is, how on earth do we get out of the market?
Let's explore Section 4, the power of discrimination, and how we start crossing items off the list.
Fortunately, the source offers a profoundly practical way out. It explains how the list of your shopping can be ended by intelligently thinking and drawing a line on it. Cut it out, see that that is not necessary. This introduces the incredible, game-changing power of what the source calls discrimination. Listen, liberation isn't about shopping faster. It's not about becoming the most efficient consumer in the bazaar so you can eventually buy everything. No way. It's about taking a hard, intelligent look at your list, realizing most of it is complete nonsense, and actively drawing a thick black line right through it.
When we actually apply this intelligent discrimination, we can look at our internal list and just start crossing things out. Endless wealth and unnecessary objects? Crossed out. Constant external validation? Crossed out. Lingering past grudges? Completely crossed out. You look at an item that's been driving your actions for years, and you just say to yourself, you know what? I don't even know why I wrote it down like that. This just isn't necessary. You cut it out. You start to realize that out of 100 burning desires, maybe only 1 or 2 absolute bare essentials actually matter. The rest of it, it's all just noise keeping you trapped inside the store.
And finally, we arrive at Section 5, finishing the trip home and exiting the bazaar. Let's look at the ultimate reward of this intelligent subtraction.
This brings us to a final, absolutely beautiful realization made in our source material. If you have got discrimination, you can cut everything and return home immediately. See, once you realize you don't actually need the items on the list, the intense pressure of those vasanas completely vanishes. Poof, gone. You don't have to keep rushing to the next shop in a total panic. You don't have to keep stopping at the motel of death and being reborn just to run endless, pointless errands. By intellectually rejecting all that unnecessary stuff, you cut off the entire cycle. You finish the list, not by buying everything on it, but by realizing you never needed any of it in the first place. You are finally untangled from that sticky web of thoughts. You can finally just go home.
Which leads us to a final, provocative thought for you to carry forward today. What unnecessary items are you going to intelligently cross off your shopping list today so you can finally return home? It's a pretty powerful challenge. The bazaar of the world will always be out there. It'll always be bustling, loud, and full of shiny things perfectly designed to distract you. But your list is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this framework helps you navigate your own marketplace with a bit more focus, a lot more discrimination, and way less unnecessary baggage.